Hi, my name is Tejas Vidwans, and I'm with the Providence High School TSA team for Extemporaneous Speech. I am presenting today for the National Competition 2021 Extemporaneous Speech Competition. Thank you for joining me. My question was, should the government have any say in our diet? I answer no. The government should have no say in standardizing our diet in any way possible for a couple of reasons. The first one being that government, whenever it intervenes in the economy, always creates inefficiencies. This can lead to a loss of resources and really a greater waste of resources. Another is that it negatively impacts the economy, causing a loss of jobs and negatively impacting the local as well as state economies. And finally, with all the dietary restrictions nowadays, having a standardized diet could have great negative repercussions on those with allergies or dietary restrictions. For the first point, based on the economic principles of capitalism, where supply and demand are able to coincide and give consumers goods that they want for the price that they want it, having a government intervene in that system creates inefficiencies because governments choosing how much goods to produce. For example, in socialistic or communist governments, the centralized government or command government would have a command economy, and they'd state the amount of good that was produced. In these situations, a command economy is not flexible to the market, and over time, that causes inefficiencies. One of the resources that really state this is Investopedia, which goes into more detail, stating that command economies are very, very, very inefficient when compared to capitalistic market economies. And in order to implement a standardized diet, it would require very, very much logistical work and work outside of government itself for planning. This would cause us to either have to raise taxes to fund this new organization or take funding away from an existing organization, which during this current COVID-19 pandemic could have more negative repercussions as individuals are relying more and more on government infrastructure to survive this pandemic. Listofchallenges.com states that there are over 40 different world cuisines around the globe. By having a standardized diet that the government imposes, we're looking at least 20 or so of those cuisines being cut off or not being implemented, which has a loss of diversity as each and every one of those cuisines are associated with a certain culture or multiple cuisines are associated with culture, and having that cut off from people's dietary needs or what they grew up with can have negative repercussions on their well-being. Having a standardized diet that doesn't include certain cuisines, like, say, for instance, Chinese, Japanese, or Italian, some of the big cuisines, can have negative repercussions on local economies, as many small businesses that rely on, many restaurants have multiple cuisines, and limiting that amount to a certain subsection of cuisine from a certain part of the world can have negative repercussions on others from other parts of the world, forcing them to close down. And one of the most important aspects on this is that food plays a large role in well-being, in people's well-being. So as more and more people start to go to the standardized diet that the government imposes, they're being forced not to eat foods that they might have enjoyed, foods that would have sparked creativity, leading to a decrease in innovation, a decrease in inventions, and most importantly, a loss of productivity in workers, negatively impacting businesses. And finally, differences in dietary restrictions between individuals cause many to not be able to eat foods that might be on this standardized government diet. Having government standardize a diet immediately casts away immediately restricts those who aren't able to eat those certain foods. And this could have public health effects by increasing the rates of hospitalizations for those individuals who are forced to eat this certain diet. Another reason is that having a standardized diet for long periods of time is shown to generate depression-inducing symptoms. A great example of this is not allowing individuals to enjoy their food over long periods of time. Having the same food over and over and over and over again really takes the joy out of eating and decreases the enthusiasm in individuals. And finally, having a homogeneous food source in a standardized dietary plan means that populations are more susceptible for famine and vitamin deficiencies and like nutrition deficiencies if those food sources are gone. For example, if a certain food product cannot be produced anymore, populations nowadays can easily transition to another and still be okay. If the government implements a standardized diet, then if that food source goes away, populations are more and more susceptible to famine because they can't find an alternative to feed themselves. In conclusion, I think that government should not have any say in our diets for dietary restrictions, for the inefficiencies that government causes, and for the loss of diversity and productivity that it holds in the economy. Thank you.